Hi there, thank you so much for joining me here today. In today's video, I am going to provide 5 tips that I have if you are thinking of making a career change, and it's things to think about while you're kind of still in that planning stage a little bit. Say you are in your job, you're not enjoying it, you're not feeling fulfilled, maybe you're looking for something with some deeper meaning, just sensing that you're not quite where you want to be. And so you're thinking, well, I need to make a change at some point. So these are 5 tips to help you start in that planning stage. Now, the first tip has to do with money. You know, this is one of the common things that I hear with people, and it's understandable, right? Am I going to have to take a temporary pay cut? You know, it's possible. It's hard to say without knowing what your situation is, but the best thing to do is plan for it. So what can you do right now? Right now, you can take an honest look at how you're spending your money, and not things that necessarily relate to a mortgage or a rent, although you could look at those longer term, right? But how are you spending your leisure money? Eating out, maybe TV subscriptions, things that don't really add a lot of I don't want to say a lot of value, because there's value in leisure as well, but really aren't helping you get towards your goal. Things that are not really investing in yourself, because that's a big part of this. If you are looking at making a career change, it really is an investment in yourself. And look at areas where you can cut back expenses. I mean, there's some things that are really obvious that are not necessarily the easiest to give up. Things like, coffees and lattes and maybe drinks out with your friends, but those things really do add up. And if you really do want to make a change, then, sometimes it takes a little bit of, I don't want to say sacrificing, because it's not really, it's sacrificing maybe in the short term, but really, if it's getting you towards what you really, really want, where you're working in a career where you feel fulfilled and full of joy, it doesn't really feel like a sacrifice, to be honest with you, when you really think about it. I think this is one of the most interesting things when it comes to money. So many times we spend money because we're trying to make ourselves feel better. And for many people, that comes down to not feeling really happy in their work or their jobs. Let's face it, we spend a lot of time working. So let's say you've had a really, awful day at work and you're feeling crummy. You can justify going out and spending money, on a night out, right? Thing is though, when you're actually working in something where you feel truly aligned and on purpose and you're getting meaning, the urges to do those things don't crop up, really. You still might want to go do those things, but it's for different reasons. And hey, I love money. There's nothing wrong with wanting money, but all I'm saying is, are you willing to take a small, step back to actually get you further ahead in life and where you really, really want to be, right? Take a temporary cut, or maybe make some changes, make some shifts in yourself to actually get you to where you want to be in the longer term. And that's kind of what you really got to think about is, am I playing the long game? And be honest with yourself. I think it's just really good feedback. If you're going, I can't stop, I don't want to, stop spending money on some of these things, and just take a little deeper. Just be curious, like, what's going on there? Like, do you really want it, or is there something else going on for you, right? It's just about being honest. But a really great thing to do if you are planning on making a switch is, like I said, cut back on some of your expenses right now so you can perhaps have a little more money in the bank. And the other thing I want to say about money is there are different types of spending. When it comes to spending, and this is again beyond your living expenses, are these expenses enhancing me, investing in me, or am I spending money on that momentary pleasure? Because that's a really important piece here. It's not just about cutting expenses, it's looking at how you're spending your money. Things like books. I mean, it's so invaluable, like resources. If that's going to help you get you to where you want to go, that's investing in you. And that's investing in a long-term solution for you. So just another thing to kind of think about when it comes to money. The second thing I want to talk about is getting really clear on what it is you want. Just saying, I want to make a change, and starting to take steps without being really intentional and having a really, really clear picture of what your ideal career looks like ends up being just taking action that doesn't really get you anywhere. It can lend you to be quite exhausted. You might end up switching jobs thinking something was maybe kind of what you wanted, but if you weren't really clear, you could end up spending a lot of time spinning your wheels. And this can happen, this can actually go on for years. I've seen people where this actually truly goes on for years, spinning their wheels for long periods of trying different things, not getting to where they want. So I know sometimes it can feel like you just want to get there. You just want to get to where you're going, but stopping and taking that time to get clear will actually save you time in the long run. It truly, really will. Now, the third tip I'm going to have actually ties in a bit to the second one. And it's really got to do with execution. Once you do have clarity, and this is often the biggest piece for people, to be honest, is getting that clarity. Execute on it. Take the action steps and execute on it. But not before you are ready, meaning you've got a strategy laid out. So we don't want to just, all of a sudden get a great idea and then just run with it in all kinds of different directions. Because that can happen. You scatter yourself, like I'm going to try this, and you're all over the place, and that can be a lot of energy wasted. When you are making a career change, it's a bit of a balancing act with the timing. Because here's the thing. You want to keep moving forward, right? And that's important. Many people I speak to, like I said, are really wanting to get there as quickly as possible. And I think that is really important. And I think it's really valuable to know that and to take steps that are going to get you there the quickest way possible. But also not rushing before you have certain pieces in alignment, certain pieces figured out. Because if you don't have those pieces figured out, again, it ends up taking longer time sort of in the long run. The thing of the matter is, chances are, if you are going to make a change and you are truly committed to it, it's going to happen. The question is more, how long will it take you? Will it take you 6 months, 3 months, or 5 years, or 10 years, right? That's kind of, really what it comes down to, is just how long you're willing to sit in what you are sitting in, and how strategic and how much you want to plan and do things properly to get there the quickest way possible. Well, I don't want to say properly, but the quickest way possible for sure. Now, my fourth tip is you're never going to be ready. You're never going to feel 100% ready. Tip 3, I talked about, you've got a strategy. That's what you need. That's your ready point. But will there ever be a moment where you're like, okay, this is it. I'm so ready. I'm going to, just kind of move beyond who I was before. It takes courage to start showing up in the world, being and doing something different than you may have for the last, 10, 15, 20 years. That takes courage. It might look appealing, and it is appealing, most definitely, but there is a transition period in there where it's like you're not in the new yet, and you're not quite in the old because you're kind of disengaged from that. And so you're in this middle space. And it can feel a little uncomfortable because you, like I said, you haven't fully landed in this new identity yet, this new way of doing things, this new way of being. And if you're hoping for a moment where it just feels like I'm fully ready, it's not likely to happen. So it's just a question of, how much ready am I? Do I have all my strategies in place? Yes or no? Do I know what I want? Yes or no? All those things in place. And if you have all those things in place, then it likely is time to start executing. And if you aren't executing, ask yourself why. Here's the thing. Humans are really clever. I'm going to tell you, we humans are super, super clever. When we're scared to do something, okay, and we don't necessarily want to admit that we're scared to do something because, you know, it's not fun, like admitting, right? We're scared to do something. It kind of feels a bit vulnerable. We will come up with a lot of really, really great excuses. And here's the thing about these excuses. They are legitimate. Okay, I need to say that again. They are legitimate. They're perfectly reasonable. I can guarantee you could come up with a half a dozen really solid reasons not to make a change. And really, I probably couldn't, put a hole in any of those theories. Really, like I said, they're legitimate. That's the thing. But then the question is, do you really want this? Because when it comes down to you're at that moment where you've got everything lined up and you're ready, but you're not, it truly is, there is a fear there. And that's okay. That's okay. Our egos tend to crop up right when we're, ready to make a change, to make a leap. Our egos want us to stay safe. And to the ego, safe means the same, right? So if we know that that's going to happen, we can just go, oh, okay, that's my ego. Look at that, right? So I just encourage you, if you're in that position where you're thinking that you're wanting to make a change and you've got everything lined up and you're not ready to make some moves, make some changes, take some steps, just do a check-in with yourself. Is there a bit of a fear here that's going on? And dig a little deeper. Again, just be curious. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't get mad at your ego. Your ego is just trying to keep you safe. You can thank your ego. Thank you very much. But I got this, right? And so the last tip I have is just an awareness when you're planning this. You're not starting over. You're not starting over. Think of all the experience, knowledge, skills, awarenesses, just your personal development you have gained since you started your career, when you truly were starting out. I have not worked with anybody who didn't take significant pieces from their old career. And actually, it's quite interesting when this happens because all of a sudden it's like, oh, look, I didn't think I'd be using that over here. It's kind of fun to watch. Because that is what happens. You're not starting from scratch. You're taking some of the pieces from your past and what you've done, and you're adding some new elements. Are you going to have to learn to do some new things? Probably. But that's okay. You're not starting from a complete novice. You've got things to offer already established in your career. So I hope this has helped you. If you are in that planning stage, 5 tips that I've got for you here today. If you are feeling really stuck, I would encourage you to reach out to me. We can hop on a call, talk about your situation, and I can just help give you a little bit of a support to help you shift into getting some momentum forward. Often we get stuck, and we can get stuck in our head, right? Because we're looking at our own situation, and sometimes that fresh pair of eyes can really help unlock a piece that's holding us back. So if this is you, I'm going to put my website below. It's AndreaHorvath.com. You can reach out to me there. There's actually a spot where you can book a call with me directly on my website. I also have a free guide. I'm going to put that in the link below as well. It's called How to Create a Professional Life You Love. And it's actually 5 tips. And I call them tips is not even, it's actually more like 5 steps to create a professional life you love. And I'm going to put the link below. It's in my website, but if you go into there, you subscribe, you will, that will automatically come up for you to read. So I hope this information has been helpful today, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.